All right, so good morning everyone and good evening to all of you who are in Asia. So I'm still waiting for Dr. Raja Chandra. He's our speaker for the day. And my name is Pawan. You may have seen me on some of the YouTube videos from our team. For those of you who don't know about us, we have a diverse panel of attendings, residents, journalists, MBAs, and we help IMGs in the application process, interview process, and SOAP and anything related to the match after your scores. Look us up. We have a very high match rate of about 87% over the past 4 years now. This is our website. We have a free blog here. Have a lot of guest blogs, so this will be very helpful to you. And this is our contact information. For those of you who are looking for our YouTube channel, just go to YouTube and type in USMLESarthi, and you should be able to see our YouTube channel. We got about 70 odd videos, so that should be of some help to you. We try to cover every topic, and so if you want to subscribe, we generally update it weekly with a video that can help you as well. All right, so how we are going to work on this is we got a lot of questions on Facebook. So we will first go over the questions on the Facebook, and then we will open up for any questions that you may have here. And there are a variety of questions, so we divided it into various categories. So here you see application, personal statement, timeline, and then you have some questions on research, some questions on the scores, year of graduation. So all that we have tried to cover. And then there are some very common questions. This is my score, can I match? So we'll point you to those resources that we have already answered those questions either on YouTube or in a blog, or there is NRMP statistics that should be a good source for all your data. So one of the most common questions, and this you see, the first question is, how many programs should an IMG apply to now? And of course, it depends on the scores, it depends on the specialty, it depends on a host number of factors, the visa that you have, whether you're a green card holder. But ideally, say in internal medicine, where the maximum number of IMGs apply, less than 100 is very risky given the competition. And then, you can see family medicine, less number of programs, pediatrics, slightly less. But anything less than 100, even with a 240 score, is taking a bit of a risk. Why don't we take the second question? Is it mandatory to complete Step 1 and CK and CS before applying for the match as an IMG, or can you apply with Step 1 only?
Okay, I think, I don't know if it's mandatory or not, but I would definitely recommend giving your Step 2 CK and CS before applying for the residency match. Because when you apply on September 15, a lot of programs will have these filters, whether you have filters for the steps. That they just see Step 1, they may not even download your application, or even if they have downloaded, they may not even review it. So I would say you should definitely have Step 1, definitely have Step 2 CS2. Step 2 CK, some people do apply with a pending score, but I would recommend that apply with all these three already available in your application.
Okay, and if they were only, if one score is pending like a CK, then what do you recommend? Should they continuously update the program, chase the program, email them, now my score is available? What strategies do you recommend?
Okay, so let's say you gave your Step 2 CK in like July or August, and you're just waiting for the result. Then you you need to apply on September 15th because I think your results should be there by the end of September. In that case, I would just recommend you to submit your application once your Step 2 CK score is available. But in case you submit your application on September 15th, but your score is still pending, then you should actively try to call them or email them and tell them that, hey, my CK is done and this is my score.
Okay. All right. The next question is something we frequently get, MSPE. For IMGs, how important is MSPE, the medical school, the MSPE as well as the transcript? Is there a set format for the MSPE? What do you recommend?
So how important it is for an IMG, I think it's a mandatory for everyone. So it's one of those documents you should have it if
right.
you're applying for the match. So about the format, I think every hospital has its own format. You should be easily able to find it on Google when you Google for medical school transcript. It basically gives the entire review of your medical school education right from your first year until the last year with your scores and the kind of rotations you did, how much time you spent on it, and your grades in each of these rotations. The medical school transcript is just the grades from your first year to final year with the number of marks you scored in each subject every year. It's just a combined document of your first 4 years final results.
Okay. So the next question is slightly uncommon. The emergency medicine programs require a standardized video interview. Have you seen this at, maybe a combined EM-IM program, or is it just the pure EM? I think it's just the pure EM. I haven't seen it anywhere else.
Yes. I haven't seen anyone undergoing this standardized video interview for internal medicine program. None of my friends had it. I haven't heard of this either. But even though they may not be able to enter it, sometimes what they do is some of the programs, when you apply for them, they call you. It's like a pre-interview. And based on that phone call, it wasn't a video, it was just an audio interview. Based on that phone call, they decide whether to call you for the interview or not. But I haven't seen any video interviews for IM programs.
Okay. Although a couple of programs, what we have seen in the last few years, they do an initial Skype interview, video interview, and then, so first they filter your application, then they do a second round over Skype, and then they call you on site. So some things are changing. I think pathology also, I saw a couple of programs last year do an initial screen over Skype. But I don't think it's a mandatory thing.
Okay.
Interviews. So, and we'll take the rest of the questions once we go over these. So interviews, which state is best for H-1B? And, I heard New Jersey is comparatively easy. What is your take? Which state is best for H-1B?
Okay. Before I go to that question, I think I can hear you properly, but I think my window...
Yeah, I think your voice is not... you may have to just pick up the phone, and I think people are not able to hear you clearly.
Okay. No, the thing is, I can't see anything on the screen also. Like it froze after the first slide, and my video is also not moving.
Okay, but can you pick up the phone and get it closer to your, I guess, the mouse? Yeah, maybe that is, because I'm looking at the chats, and I think your voice is not clear to them. At least some of the people are saying.
Is it better now, or is it still not clear?
I guess slightly better. So we'll see. Maybe, you need to increase the volume of your phone also.
Hello? Is it
okay,
better now?
He's saying, they're saying it is the same. So you may just have to be a bit louder, or hold the phone near your, remove the speaker and just hold the phone near your...
Yeah, I'm going to do that. Hello?
Yep.
Yeah, how about this?
Yes, to me at least it looks good, but we'll see. I think it is better. But let's start. Yeah, people are saying it is better. So just as long as you are near your mouth, the phone is near your mouth, I think we are okay.
Yeah, it's near.
So which state is best for H-1B visa is the question.
So for H-1B visa, right now I'm not sure like which state is better, but I think anywhere in the East Coast should be a good option. And not just for H-1B, even for an IMG to match, it's most of the people end up matching in the East Coast, or
Yep.
Or in some other places like Chicago or Detroit, Ohio. But yeah.
Okay. And sorry, go ahead. No, I was saying I was going to say that we've actually done a video on the best states to match for IMGs, and you should look up everyone. I showed you our YouTube channel. Do subscribe to the YouTube channel, and you should be able to get to those videos where we are talking about best states and all that, and you can see the New York, New Jersey, Chicago, where they rank. Okay, I think your video is gone, Raja. So okay, you're back. Yeah, and CONARD 30 jobs. Is this something we want to cover, or because that's post residency? I don't know if it's related anyway to getting into residency.
Yeah, I don't think it's related anyway to regarding to the H-1B visa.
Yeah, and I think your voice is still going back, so you got to keep the phone. Yeah. Okay, so the next question I think is also critical. How does the interview process work? When invited, do you pick? Can you come? When can you come for an interview? And what is the best time to schedule a time off for interviews?
So the interview process, when invited, so some people start getting it from September 16th itself. Some people might have to wait until October 1st week or October 2nd week to get an interview. And there are a few people who had to wait until like November to get their first interview. So when you get an interview early in the year, like let's say you get it in September, October 1st week, they'll give you a lot of options on when to pick your interview. So you can choose when you want to go for this interview. But if let's say you get an interview in November, then even though they give you choices, there may not be many available. So you'll just have to pick whatever that's available. And
so pick as soon as you can. Yes.
Yeah. And when it comes to best time to schedule the interviews, there is no bad time to schedule it. It just depends on your convenience and what you're doing at that point. So you can choose to schedule as early as October, or you can wait until like January. What some people do, or at least the people I knew did, was they always used to keep their best interview, like the program of their choice. They usually keep it like around 4th or 5th so that they get enough practice in their first few interviews before they show their best in that interview.
Yeah, that's an important point. Keep your top kind of programs 4th or 5th, or at least somewhere in the middle, so that you can, get some practice initially, and then you're on your peak, kind of at your peak for the top interview. By the way, I'm assuming people can see the screen. I know one of the students cannot see the screen. It should be visible. The questions are on the screen also.
Other thing about scheduling interviews is if you're interested in a pre-match and the pre-match program offers you an interview, I would say schedule it as soon as possible when they still have enough seats to offer, so that your chances of getting that particular seat would be high.
Okay. So next question is slightly, I guess, more subjective. How much interview can decide your match? So hypothetically, if one of the 3 interviewers, so if you are interviewing with 3 people, one of them doesn't like you, can you still match?
I think it's difficult. It's just this question can just be answered based on assumptions. It depends on how much that other interviewer hates you. If he doesn't like you at all, if he doesn't like you at all, then he'll make sure that you won't get into that program. But
exactly,
it depends on how much he doesn't like you.
Yeah, you're right. And most programs, from what we have seen, generally the program director or the chairman does the veto. So if they do not want one particular candidate for whatever reason, they can veto that candidate out. Generally, it is a consensus process, but you're right. If it gets too much, then it depends on how much they hate you. Correct. And guys, we are recording this, so please don't ask us to repeat the answers to the questions again. After this session, we will also open up for any questions that you may have, and this will also be available on the YouTube channel. Letter of recommendations. Importance of home country LOR. Is it a must?
So home country LOR, I mean, if you're coming from if you went to medical school in a country other than the U.S., then definitely you should have a home country LOR because they are the people who saw you for the longest period of time. So yeah, it's a must. You should have at least one from your dean or from the chief of the department you're applying to.
Okay. And how is this relevant if you are an old graduate? Say you're applying for the 2019 match, but you are a 2014, say, graduate. You've done a lot of USC, maybe research. So how relevant is the home country LOR, and is it really valuable?
Yes. Despite that, I mean, you must have graduated from 2014, applying 2019, but it's still it's the home country attending who saw you for 4.5 years, and not the people in the U.S. So I would say at least get one letter from your home country, and the remaining 3 could be from the U.S.
Okay. Yep. One you can. Okay. Next question. Does it matter if LORs are obtained or not from the same specialty that we are applying to? So this is also very common. We get, I have a PEDS letter, I'm applying to internal medicine or, whatever combination. So what do you think of this?
The thing with this is if you have a letter from the specialty of your choice, then definitely upload that. But in case you don't have any other letters, let's say you come to the U.S., you do one rotation in a different specialty because that's the only one you can get, then you can still use that letter, but just make sure you tell your attending when he's writing the letter that in his letter do not mention that you are better. Let's say you did a rotation in radiology and your radiology attending is writing the letter, just make sure that he doesn't write in the letter you are a very good candidate for radiology.
Yes, that is a very important point.
Just ask him to write something like you are a very good candidate for residency, like keep it broad, or you can also ask him to write that you are a very good candidate for medicine residency if you're applying to medicine, or pediatric if you're applying to pediatrics. I had a similar problem like the first time I did a rotation in radiology, and that's what I asked him to write, to not include radiology in there, but to write like a residency candidate or a medicine residency candidate, because I told him very clearly that I'll be applying to medicine and not radiology.
Yes. All right. Coming to research, if we are to choose between U.S. clinical experience and research, what should we aim for?
So it depends on how much time you have. Let's say you just have 2 months before applying for residency, then definitely go for electives. The U.S. clinical experience, if you didn't have any, the first preference would be for clerkships, meaning you're still a student and you can do hands-on experience here. That's the top on the list. And the next is definitely externships. If you can get that, you can get that once you're a graduate, once you graduated from medical school. And the other one is observership. It's just a shadowing experience after you're graduated. So definitely get some U.S. clinical experience, because a lot of programs, when you're applying for residency, they have a criteria of 2 to 6 months of clinical experience in the U.S. Now, they do say that research and observership doesn't count, but you can still apply to those programs. Sometimes they consider it, sometimes they don't. And coming to research, as I said, definitely get some clinical experience before starting research. But if you're not getting any clinical experience, then don't waste your time, just join research. Because even in research, you'll be spending most of the time with your attending, who can see you like 24/7 and 5 days a week, and he will still be able to write a very good letter for you. Whereas in elective, like clerkship or observership, sometimes the attending changes every week or every other week, and they may not be able to give you a strong letter.
Okay. Second is a slightly specific question. I guess they've shared their credentials. So this person is saying, I started my research as a research assistant position in a top pediatric hospital. Will it help in this year's pediatric match? And, it's a 228, 230, 208 kind of a score. So 228, 230 just started research in pediatrics. Will it help in pediatric match this year?
Okay, so I don't know about the rest of your CV, but just based on what the information you gave me here, I think you will be a very good candidate to match in pediatrics. The scores are good. You have compared to step 1, your step 2 CK is better, even though it's slightly better, and you have a good score on the step 3 too. And to add to it, you're now doing your research in a good hospital, so that should definitely help you in matching this year.
Okay. The next question is also something we frequently encounter. So let's first talk about the research. So someone is doing research, they've participated in writing some papers, but it will not be published before the match. So should they mention it in the CV? Because, the CV, once certified, cannot be changed. So should they still mention it even if at that point it is not published?
So you can mention it in the two ways, there are few ways to mention it. Let's say the research is submitted for publication before you apply for residency. You can mention it in your CV that the status has submitted. But let's say it's not even submitted before residency, then you can mention in your CV under the research experience, you can write there what you did during that research experience, and that you're working on this particular project which is about to be submitted to a journal.
Okay.
Yeah, so there are different ways to mention that in your CV.
So related questions which we also get is, I'm starting an observership in October, let's say, or in November. I have it confirmed, but obviously I will be submitting my CV on September 15th. So how can I mention the future kind of experience?
Yeah. So I don't think there's no way to mention that in your CV, but
right.
You can try to mention that in your personal statement.
Okay.
When you're saying how you are trying to get into your residency, then you can some way tweak it and mention that you're going to do some rotations in the US in the next coming month.
Okay.